My name is Jack Morrison. I'm 47 years old, red-haired, and in December 2007, I was living on my farm in rural Alberta, Canada. That winter was brutal. Temperatures dropped to -30°C. The snow was so deep you couldn't see the fences. It was the kind of winter that killed livestock and tested even the toughest farmers. I had a brown Labrador named Bear. He was 5 years old, strong, loyal, my constant companion through every season. He knew that farm better than I did. On December 14th, 2007, Bear disappeared. It was morning. I let him out like I always did. He ran into the snow, did his business, usually came back within 10 minutes. But that morning, he didn't come back. I called for him. Nothing. I searched the barn, the fields, the tree line. Nothing. By nightfall, he was still gone. The next day, still no Bear. The day after, nothing. 3 days. 3 days in -30° weather with no food, no shelter, no sign. I thought I'd lost him. I thought the wilderness had taken him, like it takes everything that wanders too far. But on the third night, December 17th, I heard scratching at my door. I opened it, and there was Bear, alive, exhausted, covered in snow and ice. And in his mouth, something I couldn't understand. Something that would lead me to a discovery I'll never forget. When I opened that door and saw Bear standing there, I didn't care what was in his mouth. I just cared that he was alive. I pulled him inside. He was shaking, not from cold. His thick winter coat protected him, but from exhaustion. His paws were cut, bleeding slightly. His face was gaunt. He'd been through hell. I wrapped him in blankets, built up the fire, gave him water. He drank like he'd been in the desert. Then I examined what he'd brought. At first, I thought it was a stick, but when I picked it up, I realized it wasn't wood. It was fabric. A piece of torn cloth, frozen stiff, about a foot long, dark blue, and on one corner, barely visible, was stitching. Letters. A name. Emma. My heart stopped. I knew that name. Everyone in the area knew that name. Emma Lawson. 8 years old. She'd gone missing 6 days ago. Let me go back. 6 days before Bear disappeared. December 8th, 2007. It was a Saturday. I was in town buying supplies when I saw the posters. Missing child. Emma Lawson. Last seen near Blackwood Trail, about 15 miles from my farm. The whole community was searching. Police, volunteers, search and rescue dogs. They'd been looking for 3 days already. But the snow had been falling heavily. Tracks disappeared. Scents went cold. Hope was fading. I joined a search party. We combed the woods for hours. Found nothing. By December 11th, most volunteers had given up. The police scaled back. The assumption was grim. A child couldn't survive that long in those conditions. Her parents were on the news every night. Her mother, sobbing, begging for anyone with information to come forward. Her father, stoic, holding his wife, but you could see the devastation in his eyes. I went home that night and hugged Bear. "Never leave me, boy," I said. "Not in this weather." 3 days later, he did. Back to December 17th, holding the piece of fabric. Emma. Bear had found something related to Emma Lawson. But what? And where? I grabbed my phone, called the police. The line was busy. I tried again. Still busy. It was late, nearly midnight. I couldn't wait. I bundled up. Heavy coat, gloves, boots, flashlight. Bear was exhausted, but when I stood to go, he stood too. "You need to rest, boy," he whined. Walked to the door. Looked back at me. He wanted to show me. He wanted me to follow. "All right, but we go slow." I opened the door. The wind hit me like a wall. -35 now with wind chill. Deadly cold. But Bear didn't hesitate. He stepped into the snow and started walking. I followed. He led me east, away from the farm, toward the woods, toward Blackwood Trail. We walked for what felt like hours but was probably 40 minutes. My face was numb. My fingers ached despite the gloves. But Bear kept going, purposeful, determined. Then he stopped, at the base of a steep embankment. He barked. Once. Sharp. "What is it, boy?" He barked again, pawed at the snow. I shone my flashlight down. At first, I saw nothing, just snow and rock. But then, something else. A darker patch. Something unnatural. I climbed down carefully. The slope was icy, treacherous. I slipped twice, caught myself. Bear stayed at the top, watching, guiding. And then I saw it. A backpack. Small. Child-sized. Half buried in snow. And next to it, barely visible, a blue jacket. The same blue as the fabric Bear had brought. My breath caught. Emma. I dug frantically, hands burning in the cold. The snow was packed hard, icy. But I kept digging. And then I found her. She was curled in a small hollow beneath an overhang of rock. Her jacket torn, her face pale, lips blue. She wasn't moving. Emma, can you hear me? Nothing. I checked for a pulse. Faint. Barely there. But it was there. She was alive. I didn't know how. 6 days in this cold. No food. Minimal shelter. But she was alive. I stripped off my coat, wrapped her in it. She was small, light. I lifted her carefully, started climbing back up the embankment. Bear barked encouragement, pacing at the top. The climb was hell. Slippery. Steep. I fell once, landed hard on my shoulder, but I held on to Emma. Kept her safe. At the top, I radioed. No, wait, I didn't have a radio. My phone. I pulled it out with numb fingers. No signal. We were too deep in the woods. We have to get back to the farm, I told Bear. Fast. He led the way. I followed, carrying Emma. She was so cold, so still. I talked to her, trying to keep her and me focused. You're going to be okay, Emma. We're getting you home. Your parents are waiting. Bear found you. Good boy, Bear. He never gave up. The walk back was agony. Every step felt like a mile. The cold was crushing. My arms burned from carrying her. But I didn't stop. Couldn't stop. Finally, I saw lights. My farmhouse. I burst through the door, laid Emma on the couch near the fire. Bear collapsed beside her, exhausted. I called 911. I found Emma Lawson. She's alive. Barely. Send an ambulance to Morrison Farm, County Road 12. Sir, are you certain it's her? I'm certain. Please. Hurry. I wrapped her in every blanket I had. Checked her pulse again. Still faint, but steady. Her lips were moving. She was trying to say something. I leaned close. What is it, Emma? Cold, she whispered. So quiet I almost didn't hear. I know, sweetheart. But you're safe now. You're going to be okay. She opened her eyes. Just for a second. Looked at Bear. Doggy, she whispered. Then closed her eyes again. The ambulance arrived 20 minutes later. Paramedics rushed in, took over. They stabilized her, loaded her onto a stretcher. She's hypothermic, severely dehydrated, but her vitals are improving. You saved her life, sir. I didn't. He did. I pointed to Bear, who watched from the corner, too tired to move. They took Emma to the hospital. I followed in my truck, Bear in the passenger seat. I called the police on the way, told them everything. At the hospital, her parents were waiting. When they saw the ambulance, her mother screamed. Not in grief, in hope. Is it her? Is it Emma? It's her. She's alive. Her mother collapsed. Her father caught her, tears streaming down his face. They rushed to the room where Emma was being treated. I stayed back. This was their moment, not mine. But Emma's father came back out. Found me in the waiting room. You're Jack Morrison? Yes, sir. He grabbed me. Not in anger. In gratitude. Hugged me so hard I couldn't breathe. Thank you. Thank you. You brought our daughter back. It wasn't me. It was my dog, Bear. He found her. Then thank him too. Please. Thank him for us. Emma spent 3 days in the hospital. Hypothermia, frostbite on her fingers and toes, dehydration. But she survived. The doctors called it a miracle. The story made national news. Girl survives 6 days in Canadian winter. Labrador retriever saves missing child. Bear became a local hero. But for me, he was just Bear, the dog who refused to give up. A week after Emma was released, her family came to visit. Emma was in a wheelchair, her feet still bandaged, but she was smiling. Alive. She saw Bear and lit up. Doggy. Bear walked over slowly, gently. She hugged him, buried her face in his fur. He found me, she said. I was so cold, so scared. But he came. He stayed with me, kept me warm. I looked at her parents. She said Bear stayed with her. Her mother nodded, tears in her eyes. When we asked her how she survived, she said a brown dog came, lay down with her, kept her warm. We thought she was delirious. But now it made sense. Bear didn't just find Emma on December 17th. He'd found her days earlier, and he'd stayed, kept her alive, then left to get help, to bring me back. 3 days, I said, my voice breaking. He was with her for 3 days. That's why he came back exhausted. That's why he brought the fabric. He was showing me where she was. Emma's father knelt down, hugged Bear. Thank you, boy. You saved our little girl. Bear wagged his tail, like it was no big deal, like it was just what dogs do. They offered me a reward. I refused. Use it for Emma, for her recovery. But they insisted on one thing, a plaque. For Bear. Alberta Hero Dog, 2007. The local paper did a feature. The story spread. People sent letters, donations for Bear's vet care, treats, toys. But Bear didn't care about fame. He cared about the farm. About me. About doing his job. That winter, I learned something. Dogs don't think like we do. They don't calculate risk versus reward. They don't ask if something is worth it. They just act. They see someone in need, and they help. Even if it means 3 days in deadly cold. Even if it means risking their own life. Bear is 12 now. Older, slower, but still my companion. Emma is 16. She visits every year on December 17th. Brings Bear his favorite treats. I wouldn't be here without him, she always says. And it's true. Without Bear's loyalty, without his refusal to abandon someone in need, Emma Lawson would have died in those woods. The Labrador disappeared for 3 days. And when he returned, he brought more than just a piece of fabric. He brought hope. He brought life. He brought a little girl home. Before I go, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me, what city are you watching from? I'd love to know where our Paws of History community is growing. And if this story reminded you that dogs are more than pets, they're heroes, guardians, lifesavers, then hit that subscribe button, because we have so many more incredible stories to share. Real stories, true stories, stories that prove animals are capable of extraordinary things. Thank you for watching, and thank Bear, because in December 2007, in the brutal Canadian winter, he proved that loyalty isn't just a word. It's a lifeline. Stay safe, stay warm, and never underestimate what a dog will do for someone in need.
Paws of History, because every story leaves a paw print, and its memories stay with us forever.